Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. My name is John Green, and look who's got 99 points on top of the table. It's AFC Wimbledon. We're headed to League One. Oh, I'm excited. Today I'm going to talk about solipsism. That was a topic suggested by Sailor, one of the Project for Awesome donors. So thank you for donating to the Project for Awesome and for suggesting solipsism as a topic. Let me give you a quick update on the situation here with the Wimbly Womblys. We're facing Chesterfield, made-up town, real cigarette company though. And they have Jack Ryan in their midfield, who becomes president in the Tom Clancy novels. So that's a little bit worrisome, but I think we're going to emerge victorious. We've got some huge games coming up, so we've got a little bit of the B team playing. Guys like Beer, Jack Art, people who rarely get any playing time. But and we've got Strutting on the Ritz and Green Eggs and Sheringham up front, and they aren't necessarily the fastest. Beer there, not a particularly quick right midfielder. So, but let's talk about solipsism, the idea that only one's own mind is certain to exist. I've told this story a few times, so I apologize if you've heard it before, but whatever. We've made like 300 of these things. When I was a kid, I believed that I was the only human being in the world. And I really believed this, like it wasn't a joke. What did I get a yellow card for? Having a terrible haircut? Kennedy got a bad haircut, and I make fun of him. That's the joke, basically. Somehow Kennedy got the haircut, although it was Beer who had the foul. I think that might have been a mistake by the referee, but whatever. Go! Yes, nice through ball. When I was a kid, I believed that I was the only human being on the earth, that all other people were aliens, including my parents, and that they would just put on their alien, they would take off their, like, alien selves and put on human costumes whenever I was around, and, like, sometimes I would race out of my room at, like, 10 o'clock at night while my parents were watching the evening alien news to try to see my parents in their real alien selves, and then they would, but inevitably they were too fast for me. They're aliens, so they've just got amazing costuming technology, and they would, I would never catch them. And I mean, this like built up in my head in such a big way, such an intense way, that I remember when I finally revealed to my parents my concern that they were aliens and that I was the only real human being on the planet, and that the whole world was like a big experiment in what happens if you put a human being into a certain set of controlled situations. When I finally revealed this to my parents, I was like bawling, just like really, really crying. And then my parents were like, no, it's you don't have to worry about that. It turns out that we're all also people. But it's really difficult to know that, right? Like it is on some level really challenging to believe that other people are really people, and like you never know. I think you do know for sure that they aren't. Like I don't ultimately, like I am not a solipsist. I think there are ways of knowing that other people are as real as I am, but like I am sympathetic to the position that that it's hard to know, and that you don't that it's hard to be completely sure. Like oh no. Oh, I had a bad feeling about this game. There's something about Chesterfield that gives me a weird vibe. Oh, man. I got a new song, Meredith. You know how we've, in consecutive FA Cup games, we've come from 1-0 down to win 2-1? The supporters were singing, 1-0 down to 2-1 up, that's the way we win the cup. 1-0 down to 2-1 up, that's the way we win the cup. Which I like, but I don't know if we're going to go from 1-0 down to 2-1 up here, because we just don't seem to have much oomph in the attack, Oh, not a good ball. Not a good ball. So here's why I think ultimately that other people are real, and why I think it's like useful to understand that they are and to imagine them as real. I think that it really limits your empathy when you don't do that. And I think, it's always the robot. It's always, I don't know any of the other celebrations in FIFA 14. Oh, these boots were made for strutting. And that's just what they'll do. And one of these days, these boots are gonna score a goal on you. Strutting on the Ritz, taking us from 1-0 down to 1-1 tied. Let's see if we can complete the comeback here in the second half of the game. I think you have to imagine other people are fully human in order to have like a rich life, like because if you assume the sort of like alien assumption that like no, their consciousness can't be trusted in the way that mine. Get it! Oh! 1-0 down to 2-1 up. That's the way we're gonna win the league. That doesn't rhyme. Shoot! Oh, those are two fantastic goals from Strutting on the Ritz, having the game of his life. He's still young, too. That kid's got a future with us. He's only like a 53 in skill level, but I'm impressed. I can't even get through my talk about solipsism because I keep scoring goals. I think it's important to be empathetic. I think like that's kind of like the key human trait, or at least like the key trait of like successful humanness. It's also like one of the most challenging things about being a person. I think it's really, really hard to be empathetic, but I think it's really important. Oh, come on! What? The goalkeeper is made of gold! Oh, man. See, Arthur almost had a goal. I think that was putting on the Ritz. I can't. What is his name? Strutting on the Ritz, about to score a third goal. That was crazy. It was a great cross from Beer. He's not a very good player, at least on paper, but that was a really good cross. Yeah, so I think like empathy is one of the absolute keys to being a person, and certainly like in the work that if you make stuff for an audience, which on some level all of us do, like whether you're like making hats or making YouTube videos, you're always sort of like, usually at least, you're in your job, you're making stuff that's not just for you, or creating experiences that aren't just for you, that they're designed also for the benefit of other people, whether you're making hamburgers or very expensive wristwatches, whatever it is. Like, and empathy is always key to that. Like, you always need to be able to imagine what the person on the other side of the cash register is thinking, or what the person who's going to buy the watch that you're making is going to think, or what your customers think, or whatever. I think it's just really, really, really important to any human experience, and you kind of can't when you can't bring yourself to believe in the full humanity of other people. You really put yourself in a bad situation on the empathy front, because it becomes very difficult. Oh, get it! Oh, what a run from Strutton! That guy, he's pure courage today. I barely even know the kid. I need to have a meeting with him, because he's obviously got some skills. Yeah, so I just think it's really important. And the problem with solipsism is that it becomes difficult to kind of have that success when you, on some level, there's still part of you that's like, I'm not sure that any of these people are really, really, really real. But, the other, like, on a philosophical level, I don't know enough about philosophy to argue against solipsism. Philosophy it's like math. It's really hard for me. It's very complicated and intricate, and all of the things that I am not. Oh, get the pass! Oh, what a beautiful... No! That was going to be such a beautiful goal. Oh, we just didn't have the speed to make it happen. Oh, Strutting on the Ritz. I think he's exhausted from his previous run, and he couldn't do it. That was going to be a beauty, though. So I don't have like the philosophical chops, I guess, to say that solipsism isn't true or isn't right or isn't correct, but I really think that it's an unhelpful way to look at the world. I see why it's compelling. Like, how do you know that other people are as real as you are? But when you make the assumption that other people are as real as you are, it tends to be rewarding. Like, I think you tend not only to have like a more successful experience as a human, but I think you also have kind of like a richer experience. That said, I'm also really interested in the limits of empathy, like the limits. Oh no, what a terrible pass. That was like Martin Skirtle. The limits of our ability to imagine, or Colatore actually had that pass. That was my bad. I'm sorry, Martin Skirtle. He had one of those last year, but Colatore had one last week. Anyway, that's for the 4 Liverpool fans who watch this show. Like there have to be limits to empathy, right? Because otherwise, whenever anyone on Earth died, you would feel as the intensity of the pain would be as much as if your own like grandparent died or whatever. So you can't have unending empathy. You have to have an amount of empathy that that like allows you to care about other people, even strangers, but also allows you to kind of go on in the face of like the constant suffering that's a part of being a person or whatever. So I don't have a good solution to that, and I think some of the solipsistic worldview comes from that reality that like you can't understand or even like seek to have the level of compassion for others that you would have for those closest to you, or the level of awareness of others' consciousness that you have for your own consciousness. But there is, just as there's a danger in too much empathy, I guess there's also a danger in too little. And I worry more about too little, because I'm not the kind of person who's going to like over empathize. Like I said, for a long time I thought I was the only person in the world. But these days I'm pretty convinced that I'm not. I'm pretty convinced that other people are real, and that they have their own rich interior lives, and that we can kind of measure them. We can measure them and become aware of them through art. I'm a big believer in that. Like I think that art gives me access to other people's interior lives, and we can measure them and become aware of them through through the relationships that we have with real people in our lives. So I think that's why books exist, and that's why relationships exist, is to slowly pull us out of solipsism and make us believe in the reality and fullness of the other. Oh, speaking of reality and fullness, in the real world, AFC Wimbledon comes from 1-0 down, beats Chesterfield 2-1. Suck it, Chesterfield. We move on in our league competition. Thanks for watching. Best wishes.